Alec, welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Great to be back.
Another Tuesday, and we're taking you through all the different seasons now here in the studio. It's definitely a little bit more difficult doing the early mornings in the winter. We're making you get used to all of the different seasons by now. We're tracking the conversation for quite some time now.
Yeah, but I'm an early riser by habit, so not a problem.
Not a problem, exactly. All right, let's talk exercise again. Let's just maybe recap what we said last week, because we spoke specifically about I almost want to say medicinal, but really improved functionality that you can get from exercise, and then also the large category of people that have muscle degeneration, and then ultimately struggle with a whole lot of other issues because they're simply not doing enough, especially within the older population group.
Yeah, we touched last week on a condition called sarcopenia. It's a natural progression of degenerative condition where as you age you slowly lose muscle mass, and some people as young as 35, and it gets progressively worse as we age, particularly if we lead a sedentary lifestyle, and if we are deficient in protein. So as a rule, what's happening is people are sedentary, and as they age, they tend to eat less protein instead of more, and the combination causes a loss in muscle mass and muscle strength. And this is really prevalent. So we're talking in the population sort of 60, 65 and up, men and ladies. 85% of that age group are not doing anywhere near the minimum required cardio exercise. And it's even worse when it comes to strength. It's about 94% of your 60 plus year olds are not doing anywhere near enough strength training to maintain and grow muscle mass.
Yeah, what we know from the science now is that everybody should be doing some sort of exercise, some sort of, and specifically in this category, weight-bearing exercise, where you're trying to keep that muscle mass as high as possible, because it really does make a big difference in terms of general health.
Yes. So what people don't realize, and this is where with today's title, is exercise is medicine, and that's now been proven as a fact. Although it has always been a fact, it's been neglected, and its role that it plays. So, for example, there's a big correlation between your muscle mass and your immune system. So to get your immune system functioning properly, you need adequate muscle mass. So there's a correlation there. So you end up in this downward spiral where as you lose muscle mass, your immune system is compromised, you get ill easier, you're less likely to train when you're not well, and then you lose even more muscle mass. And this gets progressively worse as we age. But the really good news is that regardless of your age, if you start doing something about it from the very first time that you do a workout and you start training or getting physically active, it has a positive benefit on your body.
Something we've consistently mentioned, though, is that you have to have a strong motivation, that why that we've been talking about. And maybe just to backtrack just out of exercise into the more holistic idea, that's what Almighty Warriors is really all about, this holistic idea. It's not just, you've already mentioned nutrition in just the short conversation we've had thus far, but we've added that spiritual side to say that the why needs to be sought not necessarily in just how you're feeling, that's a part of it, or what you're eating, that's a part of it, but in obedience to God.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we've covered it many times that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and it would be great if we could give him a functional home. So, from our side, we don't realize the impact of a sedentary lifestyle and inadequate nutrition on our spiritual growth and on our walk with the Lord. If it was all about your spiritual growth, then, surely the moment you got saved, you would kick the bucket and go home to be with the Lord. We're here on earth to bring heaven to earth and to extend the kingdom here on earth. And to do that, we need healthy, strong bodies. And it's within our control, largely, to do something about that.
Absolutely. And looking at the word in totality, often the misquote used is Paul saying, exercise is of some benefit, but spiritual exercise is of more benefit. He's definitely not saying that exercise is of no benefit. He is saying it is of some benefit. And the Bible, if you read so many other verses, has these interesting correlations to our physical bodies. You've already mentioned one, that of course our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. Proverbs 3 verse 7 to 8 puts it very, very interestingly. It says, "Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones." Fearing the Lord, shunning evil, then there's a correlation here to our physical well-being.
Absolutely. And they are all interconnected, so that the trick is that your spiritual growth should direct your mind, your will, thoughts, and emotions, and your body should be able to carry out the desires of your mind and so they need to be aligned and pulling in the same direction. So the spirit is what is controlling the mind and the body. So instead of them, as often is the case, pulling in opposite directions, the idea is to get them aligned and to lead a righteous life and to try and glorify the Lord and serve others in all that we do.
Yeah, it comes back to the command that we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. So first you've got to get yourself right. You've got to understand that it's selfish not to look after yourself, but also that we're called as witnesses. Titus 2 verse 7 to 8. In everything set them an example by doing what is good. In everything that you do, set them an example. And this, of course, is another area, the why. Okay, let's get practical, Alec. Let's get a little bit more practical. We want to talk about exercise. If we found motivation, if we want to start making a difference, where do we start in terms of exercise?
Well, I think it would be a good idea if you just go through the tips that or the benefits of exercise, just so that people can get an understanding of the practical benefits that exercise brings.
Yeah, the way that Alec has put this together for us, and you can get the show notes, by the way, on the website, almightywarrior.me. The 10 great reasons for exercise included in the show notes. Improves your mental health, increased energy levels, serves as a stress reliever, improves your sleeping habits, helps with weight loss, increases your bone density, relieves depression, increases your lung capacity, builds higher self-esteem, and, of course, improved muscle strength and joint function. And this list could continue. But there's 10 already.
Yeah. So, I think today's topic with regards to exercise being medicine is people need to realize that they were created to endure habitual physical exercise. And when we don't do that, it has a very devastating psychological and clinical effect on our bodies. And so over time, people have moved away, and medicine has moved away from, I'll just read this quote here. It says, "Regular exercise may be the most powerful medicine we have, more powerful in most cases than any pill or procedure." And that was by Dr. Robert Silas from the largest medical insurer in the States, Kaiser Permanente. And then I've got another one here from a very interesting lady. If exercise were a drug, it would be classed as a wonder drug. and that's from Dame Sue Bailey of the Academy of Royal Medical Colleges. So that's where exercise fits in, and over a period of time, medicine has sort of gone from being a preventative lifestyle to being curing illnesses with pills and surgery. At the same time, your sort of physical education has moved more towards sports and sport performance. So you've got the specialization with regards to physical activity and being coupled with sport, and medicine being coupled with pills and procedures, and the whole lifestyle side of exercise has been neglected, and is only now starting to come to the fore. There is an organization called Exercise is Medicine. It's a global organization, and they're trying to reintroduce a holistic approach to medicine, whereby your medical doctor works together with physical trainer and a nutritionist, and a lot of our ideas that we've got are based on that, in that you end up with a holistic approach to preventative health care.
And there are so many great tools these days that can help you. Professionals, of course, that can assist you in doing this, but just small things like, these watches we wear these days and phones that track our steps. There's so many great improvements in technology that can keep us accountable. This daily steps thing, it is actually quite important, just making sure that you actually get moving every day.
Yeah, I think the message we're always trying to get is that more physically active you can be, the better. So if you can take the stairs, take them. If you can walk further to park further away from the shops, or whatever you can do to be more physically active is going to be beneficial. We end up sitting a lot, and for prolonged periods of time, and that's very detrimental to your health. So we need to get into this habit of taking, let's call it exercise snacks, where you break your day up into periods of having some sort of physical activity between the periods where we sit behind our computers.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for people that, again, want to start, part of it is also understanding where you are at. Last week, we gave some great tips, like if you are overweight, one of the great measurement tools, lots of people use BMI, but sometimes the more muscular guys can feel a little bit let down by BMI, but that's one way. But another one that you can actually do very easily, even if you're at home, is to do a height to waist ratio check, right, Alec?
Yes, yeah. So basically, your height to waist ratio is the circumference of your waist should be less than half your height, and if that is the case, then you're in a good space to start with. If you're not, then you're ahead of schedule on eating.
Another great one that you mentioned last week is that walking gait speed, just
Yes.
how quickly you can move. I know a lot of the longevity research out there speaks about how quickly you can get off a chair.
Yeah.
Do you have to help yourself up?
Correct.
Those are great tests people can do.
Yes, absolutely. And I think on the exercise side, the whole idea, again, which we've mentioned before, is that you first need to train for health, then mobility, which includes your flexibility and balance, and then you move on to strength, and then performance, and finally it'll have an effect on your physique. So a lot of training is focused around performance and physique, as opposed to be on your mobility, strength, and ultimately health. So, for the average person, they're not interested in training for performance, but they most certainly need to be interested in training for the health benefits.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Welcome to Lebogang joining us live on the Facebook, and Kamokhel also watching there. Remember, we are live on Facebook as well. You can watch the video of the studio conversation we're having, Impact Radio's Facebook page. And of course, I'll mention a little bit later on as well exactly how you can get the show notes and what you can get from the Almighty Warrior website. AlmightyWarrior.me is where you want to go. Okay, different types of exercise, Alec. Let's get into the nitty gritty of exercise. There's so much, it's like diets. These
Yeah,
days, people get
absolutely.
confused by how many options there are. And exercise has become almost the same. So many different theories and ideas and ways of training. All has their benefit. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I think simplistically we can divide it into cardio and strength, and your cardio is aimed at improving your cardiovascular performance, your breathing, your lung capacity, and there you're training for a prolonged period of time at an elevated heart rate. And those are things like walking and cycling and swimming and canoeing, and the list goes on. Excellent, but they have a limited effect on your muscle mass. So especially as you age, you need to be doing strength training at least 2 or 3 times a week. And there's a variety that you can do there. But strength training and cardio, we need to be improving our performance, if I can call it that, by progressively increasing the load and the challenge that we put ourselves under. So you mentioned gait speed as an indicator. Try and walk. Once you are walking consistently, then you start trying to walk faster, or you try and walk carrying a weighted backpack, or so you're trying to make it more difficult for yourself, and in the process you improve, and your body responds positively and starts giving you muscle. So on the exercise side of things, I'm going to throw a few acronyms at you, but the one is SIT, or SIT, which stands for Sprint Interval Training. And this is more beneficial for your athletes, where they're putting maximal efforts into short bursts repeatedly. And that has a tremendous improvement and effect on your VO2 max, your cardiovascular performance. And then one which I'm very partial to is called HIIT, or high intensity interval training, and that has the added benefit of working on your cardio as well as your strength. So types of training that fit into this category are, for example, CrossFit, or even the idea behind HIIT is that 50% of the time that you spend training or in exercise, you then spend in recovery. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you, for example, run for 2 minutes, you then follow that up with 1 minute of walking. You run for 2 minutes, follow it up with 1 minute of walking. And that you can apply that principle to anything, from whether you're doing push-ups or not. So, you're doing you're exercising for a period of time, and then you're recovering for a half that period. The net effect is that your heart rate ends up staying at an elevated heart rate, but those maximal bursts of high intensity are very beneficial for not only your cardio, but also for your for actually gaining muscle mass. So it's a very efficient utilization of time. Workouts are normally only about 20 to 30 minutes, and you get a tremendous benefit from them. So if you pushed for time, look into that. And there's also group training like CrossFit, etc., that give you that benefit. So and you have the benefit of it being mutually accountable to others. So that's very beneficial.
In case people also feel the limitation of equipment, I mean, we've seen a rise the last couple of years in the popularity, even as a sport, of bodyweight training.
Yes,
Calisthenics, so many people that they
absolutely.
look like the fittest people in the world, and all they're doing is training with body weight. So
Absolutely.
people shouldn't underestimate what they're able to do at home without any
Yeah,
without any
the
external weights or equipment.
absolutely. The internet is an excellent source. YouTube will give you any number of reputable people that you can follow and get tips and teach yourself. Having said that, there's so many professional people out there ready, willing, and able to help and to guide you on your fitness journey. So make use of them. If you are serious about wanting to make those improvements, then I mean, you can reach out to us or any other people out there that are capable of helping you.
Let's talk about the material available to people listening in. We've almost run out of time again today, Alec. What's available to them, Almighty Warrior? I know that there's lots of options, but also we've really tried, or you've really tried, to put out some valuable information for people to download and to have a look at.
Yeah, well, we've got show notes on every single one of the shows that we've done to date, covering specific topics. They're freely available. You can sign up, and by signing up for the notes, we'll add you to our mailing list and keep you up to date on an ongoing basis. And then we've got various different courses and a 10-day challenge to help you kickstart your journey back to health. And then the links on all the show notes to the professionals that we work with. So they all listed there, and they're all ready, willing, and able to help. If we perhaps just give a few tips and I think it's really important for people to set successive, realistically achievable goals. It really doesn't help that on day one of you set out with the goal of running a marathon if you haven't run in the last 10 years. So let's rather get into a consistent habit. Try and find a training buddy, somebody that can hold you accountable and that you can train with. And then don't neglect your weaknesses, train them. Your consistency and perseverance and putting habits in place are key. Try and get a early morning workout in. It's definitely easier than procrastinating and leaving it for later in the day. And then there's so many great venues to go for hikes and walks in and around Pretoria that are underutilized. And get outdoors and enjoy nature and God's creation and go for a walk. It's simple to do. And then as a conclusion, I just want to try and sum it all up. It's you need to determine your why. Why are you training? And remember that with clear intentions, they lead to elevated emotions, which impact your thoughts, which direct your behavior. And then the converse is to implement a habit around that desired behavior. And this will impact your thoughts, which will in turn elevate your emotions, which will reinforce your intentions and bring you one step closer to actualizing your why. So you need that strong why that we've spoken about all the time. And for me, it's to try and glorify the Lord in all that I do and to be of service to others. If we can improve our health, and it's our instruction to do so and to look after our bodies, then you need to act, and you can only do that today.
Absolutely. Alec Avierinos joined me again today. AlmightyWarrior.me is where you want to go. You can start today. And exercise truly is medicine for the body, probably the best you can get.